Dialect is often considered a use of the words and grammar of a language that differs from a supposed non-dialectal form, usually considered superior. It is also popularly assumed that only some of us actually use dialect. In fact, we all speak a dialect, because we all use the words and sentences of English in particular ways, whether we use a standard variety of the language or not. Within England, Standard English is normally defined as the dialect of English taught in schools, used in print, and spoken by the most educated and powerful people. It is not, by most academic linguists, regarded as superior linguistically to other dialects, but since it is associated with power and success, it is obviously the most important dialect, and it has the highest social status. The fact that one dialect of English in England became the standard dialect and the norm for dictionaries, grammar books, and the teaching of the language was the result not of the intrinsic qualities of that dialect, but of the fact that it was being used by the right people in the right places at the right time. It is also important to remember that, although institutionalized through being established as a standard dialect, this well-known variety of English has not remained the same throughout its history. Within Britain and North America alone, it has been continually influenced by social developments and by changing debates on the choice and role of a standard dialect. And because English was destined to travel much further around the globe than any other language in history, Standard English today can be subdivided into a number of international Englishes, such as Standard American English or Standard Indian English. Traditional dialects, those associated with the more remote rural areas, together with the accents that accompany them, are now declining fast in Britain, especially in England. These dialects are being overtaken by modern dialects associated with urban centers such as London and Liverpool. The main reason for this is the decline in the sort of traditional country life that kept people isolated from the influence of the cities, a change brought about through technological advances, the expansion of education for all, and the growing need for more mobile and more educated workers. Traditional dialects can still be heard, however, especially among older speakers who have remained in one area all their lives, as well as in some other contexts. For example, Tony Beard, a radio presenter in southwest England, uses local dialect in his request show and typically says things like "us wants to wish her a happy birthday." In this context, the use of a traditional dialect can be favorably perceived by listeners as an assurance, perhaps, that their local community remains distinctive and special. Traditional dialects are linguistically conservative and differ distinctly from one another, and from Standard English or modern urban varieties. While modern dialects can have a form like "she ain't going" for "she isn't going," traditional dialects, such as those of southwest England, use forms like "her bain't a-goin" or "she byunt a-goin." Also, certain pronunciations can be found in traditional dialects that do not occur in modern dialects, such as the pronunciation of farmer as varmer, of long as lang, and of bone as ben. It is not only the case that we all speak a dialect of the language, but also that we pronounce it in a particular way, and so also speak with an accent. This may indicate to others where we are from or what our social background is, what sort of education we have had, and so on. Our accents frequently adjust in various ways to those of people from other regions and backgrounds. Someone with a strong regional accent in childhood is still unlikely, however, to lose all traces of that accent in later life, even if they try hard to, since the way we learn to pronounce our native dialect or language is both too automatic and too complex. This is why people who learn a foreign language, even those long resident in a country where it is spoken, generally speak it with at least some of the pronunciation features of their first language.